So, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is a movie that exists. Yep, I don't really know why it was needed, but whatever. It is the newest of the franchise, which is loosely based off of and more kind of just tied with the last three installments, which also have confusing and long names. I find it good that the Caesar storyline wasn't revived and that the movie acknowledges the past because this is set as the movie will state many generations in the future, which I looked it up and it's like 300 years after the events of War for the Planet of the Apes, which is the third movie of the trilogy, which is still confusing. But, anyways, was it good is the main question, and I'll get to that at the end. But I will first start, as always, with what I liked about the movie. The first thing, which I think will be the most recognizable thing to viewers, is the CGI and world building looks amazing. Try not to get much into the details to spoil anything, but the city that is in the movie I thought looked amazing with how overgrown everything was and how it just almost looked like what was once a very populated place and now is abandoned. Just to glaze this more, but the movie did such a great job of aging structures and really showing what it would look like if humans stopped basically existing and nature took over. Another thing is the CGI, again, is great. The last two movies of the franchise also had great CGI, but I felt, at least to me, that more was used here and they might have even done it better. And the apes and birds and scenery were done amazingly. They look super realistic and was just really well done. I have really nothing else to add about the graphics because they just nailed it. I thought that the voice acting was done well. The franchise has always done well with the face capturing and expressions in the voices that sound beastly and the bad grammar and pauses during which I know it's like that because they are apes and they're supposed to be evolving, but I'm just glad that it didn't sound like a human was speaking and that a CGI ape was just mouthing the words. It really seemed like the words were coming from that ape. I wish I could say more positive things about the movie, but sadly it suffers from what Avatar The Way of Water did, with having great CGI and beautiful environments, with a plot that was kind of mid and generic movie tropes all over the place. Shockingly to say, but Avatar The Way of Water got better at the end and with its climax, and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes kind of just felt to me to have the same mood and tension the entire movie from start to end. The beginning of the movie, in my opinion, was good to set up this new world that exists, but it spends way too much time on it, and it really seemed to not be beneficial with the amount of time it took. Basically, I was getting bored and I nearly fell asleep. The only part that made my heart skip a beat, this is kind of getting into spoilers, but it's when the main character, which is an ape named Noah, slips while climbing rocks. It's in the trailer, so don't sue me, it's not a spoiler. And if that's the only scene in the entire movie that felt at all unnerving, then you did something wrong, my friend. Also, there were a lot of times where I legitimately predicted what was going to happen, and it actually happened. It seemed to kind of just do what I've seen in so many movies and really didn't try to be unique with its storytelling. A character at the end of the movie actually dies the same way as I had predicted he would by getting attacked by birds, which I predicted before it even got to that point. So the movie kind of is just easily predictable at a good chunk of times. Also, what I found rather annoying was how a certain character knew exactly what to do and where to go every single time a problem came up. It's like this person finished the game and went back a second time to replay it. They spent no time trying to figure out what needed to be done, and it always worked out. One more thing, this is a little spoiler, but it won't ruin the movie or anything. I find it baffling how we, the viewers, see places overrun by nature and things abandoned and torn up, but somehow electricity is still a thing that exists, and especially with things like at the end, a technological device. Try not to spoil anything, but it looks like it is impossible to get working and it wouldn't work correctly anyways, but it just ends up working because a freaking NES cartridge was plugged in to it. Like, come on. It's supposed to be 300 years in the future with hardly any humans left, and we still have modern day technology working and looking not very old. One more plot convenience I'd like to point out is at the end of the movie, one of the main characters does something to Proxima Caesar, which is the ape that has the crown on its head in the trailers. This character sabotages him, and his whole army or group suffers, but Noah's seemingly entire family is all fine and alive, even though both parties were in the same situation. It's just, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Hopefully, I didn't spoil too much. Tried to work my way around the spoilers, but it's kind of hard. Final thoughts are this movie looks great, but the story's generic as hell. If you're fine with that or a fan of the Planet of the Apes franchise, you'll probably enjoy it. But if you're like me and you want your movie to have a good story and plot and make sense, you aren't really missing out by not watching this. All in all, I had a meh experience with this. Both Way of Water and this movie suffered with a generic plot and writing when they had amazing graphics. I would rate this a 7 out of 10. I'm probably starting to sound like IGN right now, but other movies I've watched that are worse, I gave a 7. So, yeah, it's mid. Maybe a 6.5 is more accurate to how I'm feeling. Anyways, please like and subscribe, and goodbye.